Hi everyone, we are Team La Firme. And the problem that we're tackling is that over 60% of families in Latin America build their own homes without any professional assistance. That's more than 270 million people across the region. And today, this happens because architectural and engineering services are completely out of reach for most low and middle income families. These services are so time-consuming that professionals usually prioritize high-income projects that provide them with reliable remuneration and predictable timelines, but leaving this segment completely underserved. So instead, families hire maestros, who are informal contractors, and who usually do a rough sketch to start construction. Maestros have great construction skills, but planning and design are not part of them. As a result of this informal and improvised process, families have to face severe consequences. First, these houses are structurally unsafe, which is particularly dangerous considering that half of the population in Latin America lives in earthquake zones. Second, layout designs do not maximize the limited space families have. And third, families end up spending up to 50% more than they actually need to spend. So to solve this, La Firme brings architectural and engineering services to families in Latin America. How? We increase efficiency through automation, standardization, and guidance in the design and management processes, all of which makes these services affordable for families and profitable for architects.
So our service has 5 stages. We start by collecting 2 types of data, about the site and about the family's spatial needs. So once the family shares their site's location, we leverage existing digital tools and databases to remotely understand the site's conditions, like topography, environmental risks, or zoning codes. On the family side, we learn from them and about their spatial needs through a series of activities on our digital platform, including tools for them to imagine potential layout designs. We then analyze and synthesize all the data collected into inputs for the architect to use during the design process. And this is what allows the architect to save around 40% of the hours spent on each project. Once a budget is approved by the families, we match them with the 2 best options of local architects, and we send the selected architect the project synthesis in order to inform and accelerate that design process. During the architectural design phase, families have 3 online meetings with the architect to review and finalize the layout design. So finally, families receive a complete set of plans, a plan overview which explains the technical aspects, and a strategy for them to phase the construction according to their financial possibilities. Throughout the entire service, we also provide families with educational content to increase their design and construction literacy. So in summary, La Firme allows families to build safer homes, to maximize their space, and to save around 25% on construction costs.
So far, we have spoken to over 50 families, 15 architects, and 10 maestros. Families are really interested in our value proposition, and they have expressed that they are willing to pay for it. Architects are really excited about the possibility of working with a whole new market as it represents new sources of revenue for them. Maestros, on the other hand, don't see us as competitors, but rather as a complement to their work. We have learned that they actually prefer to work with well-developed plans as it reduces uncertainties and mistakes during the construction process. La Firme will have a B2C model where families will pay us in different installments. We will keep part of this payment, and the other percentage will go directly to architects for the services they provide. Over the summer, we will validate our pricing hypothesis and define the fee distributions between La Firme and architects. We are entering a $56 billion market that is continuously growing, and that is only considering the 5 countries with the highest percentage of self-construction in the region. First, we will start in Peru due to its high percentage of self-construction and due to founder familiarity. Over our next couple of years, we plan to expand to Mexico. We are currently preparing for our summer pilot in Lima, where we will work with free architects and with free maestros. In September, we plan to start raising funds in order to develop our MVP, and that MVP will take into consideration all the learnings from that summer pilot. Our objective is to launch La Firme early next year and to acquire our first 100 customers by June 2023. We are Mora, Fiorella, and Raul, and our team combines more than 15 years of experience in architecture, entrepreneurship, and social innovation in Latin America. We are from Peru and Argentina, and we met here at MIT, where our shared passion for social impact and affordable housing brought us together in this new venture. Our dream is to reach that 2 million families that each year have to build their own homes without any professional assistance. We will enable them to translate the biggest investment of their lives into safe homes. Thank you.
How do you acquire your families? If it's not part of how my mother built her house or my grandfather built their house, if they never used an architect or a designer, how do you get to them?
We have identified that there are like 3 main decision drivers to acquire potential customers and for them to work with La Firme. The first one is like the financial aspect. We will clearly communicate that they will be saving a lot of money in the next 5 years because they won't, like with a house that is properly built, they will not have to worry about like maintenance and repairs. The second one is that we will enable them to have like a more functional home that is really aligned to their needs. And the third one is safety. Lima and other like big cities and big countries in Latin America have like high risk of earthquakes, and they know that if, unfortunately, their houses are not properly built, they are putting their families at risk. So those are going to be the main key drivers for them to work with us.
But how do you find them? It's a very strong value proposition.
I can compliment on that. We have spoken to a lot of maestros, and they actually right now are facing some problems. Like, for example, many people are reaching out to them, so they have kind of like a queue of projects, right? So what we're thinking about is that we can kind of like make a partnership with maestros, and they can refer families to us. So while kind of like they're waiting and they're working on other projects, we can start designing their homes. So when maestro is ready, then the plans are ready, and everything kind of like can run more smoothly.
Just to add to that, it's a very small piece. We've talked to a lot of families, and their first point of contact before building are the maestros. That's the person that they trust. So if the maestro refers the families to us, it's an easy way.
Maybe 2 questions to the architects and their role. First question, are they supervising the maestros as well, or are they just providing the plans? I mean, having a plan is one thing, but the quality is another. And maybe second question to the architects, do you think that there is enough incentive if they get like other opportunities to earn more money because you bring down the amount of money they can earn? Or might it be an option to maybe employ architects eventually, at least, to make sure that you always have enough of the architects available?
Yeah, absolutely. To your first question, for now, we're just concentrating on architects producing the plans. In the future, we are considering the possibility of expanding our service, and the architect or perhaps a different architect affiliated with La Firme could do the supervision. For now, it's the plans, and we're really concentrated on what those plans have to look like and be in order for the maestro to really follow them and the construction to be as similar as possible to the plans and the design. To the second question, architects currently are really competing for a very small market, a very high-end market. And actually, we've been doing some research. Recently, a survey from Argentina mentions that half of the architects who have graduated have licenses. And from those active architects with licenses, 70% are unsatisfied with their pay and with their work. So this is a great opportunity, opening a new market for architects who we're really balancing the pricing point to make that salary competitive for architects. And really our hypothesis is that if architects, for example, can do 4 projects with La Firme in a month, so working independently just with La Firme, they could have a very competitive salary. And that would be around 40, a full-time job, around 40 hours.
Sounds great. Thanks a lot.
Continuing on that, do you really need architects? Can't you just create templates and have this built through some other means?
We've definitely considered templates or even not having architects in the process, which would reduce the costs. However, we know that standardization and automation is very important for us to reduce the cost. We do believe in the customization part for families. We've done some research on programs, mostly from the public sector, that have tried giving out families standardized plans, and it doesn't end up covering their specific needs. These families also have different variables, reduced space, reduced resources, so it's very special to target those problems. And as for, what was the second part, sorry? It was standardization, and having the architect during the design process. We believe architects or other designers have the skills to really understand the family's needs, put those into paper, into a design, but also considering the larger scale of city making, because this has an impact not only for families on the individual scale, but also on the large scale of growing cities and et cetera.
And are you going to provide tools for the architects to enable them to work quickly and help them in the workflow?
Yes, that's the core of our service, providing not only doing the site analysis remotely, so to avoid the architect to visit the site, but also packaging all that information into templates that they can start off the design with and add their bit of customization. There are also CAD files that we're producing as tools for them to use, and the whole collection of data from the family and really interpreting their needs and packaging that into something that the architect receives and is like, oh yes, I know now this is amount of area that they have, the spaces that they need, there's a grandma in the family that needs space for a wheelchair, et cetera, et cetera. So that makes their process more agile.
Excellent.